All right, y'all, what's going on? What's going on? It's your boy, Phoenix Rising, and I am back after what it's been like 2 months. I know I've been gone for a while, but when I was making a video to my testimony, that was like, I had to go back to school in like 2 weeks, and so I wasn't even thinking about that. And right after everything took off, like my page went viral, my story went viral, and it reached millions of people. But like right after that, school had started back, and in this quarter it was like I was taking pattern making, which was the class that I really wanted to take for fashion, because I didn't know how to like make patterns and stuff for clothes. And I was also taking photography. I figured out that I wanted to minor in photography, so that was like a big step for me as well. So I wasn't able to record and finish sharing my testimony due to how busy I was. And so now I'm back. So I apologize for taking so much time and I was trying to update y'all as much as I could. I was updating y'all on what I was doing in school in order to designs that I was making, but I wasn't really sharing my story like some of you probably wanted me to, or was relying on me to. And like I said, I apologize for that, but I'm back now. I'm on break for like a month and a half, so I'll be able to make more videos and share my testimony. And so yeah, like I'm back, and this is probably part 5, I think, part 4 or 5, and I'm coming to share the final part of my testimony. And in this video, I'm going to share all the way up into the point to where I'm gonna share a little bit of my story at SCAD, but I don't want to go too deep into it just because I'm still in SCAD. I'm only in my junior year now. Well, I said only, but I'm in my junior year, and there's still time for me to continue to learn, because I'm not at the end of my journey. I know y'all see all of this. This is all of my work that I've done this year, only this year. And so I have this right here because I'm also going to make another video sharing what it is that inspired all of these pieces that I've designed and how it helped me to go further on my journey. You know what I mean? That's really much what I have to say about that. And also, I'm gonna be making more videos in the future sharing like how I got back from my accident, because I know y'all, I'm sharing parts of like how I got back and how I recovered in these videos, but I haven't really went into deep, but I'm sharing y'all the experiences that I was having. But in more videos that are to come, and even in this video, I'm going to share how I actually overcame being paralyzed from the neck down, and not just the paralysis, but a lot of the things I was going through internally. You know what I mean? All of the battles that I was facing spiritually, and how I became more spiritual. How this taught me a lot about spirituality and who I truly am, and how I discover myself on deeper levels. So yeah, that's that. So in this video, I'm gonna be telling y'all the rest of my story from where I left off. So I think I left off when I was talking about my high school experience and near up to graduation. So I'm gonna just pick up where I can, like, I remember, because it's been so much change these past few months, and like a lot of growing internally. I feel like I've grown in the past 2 months more than I've ever in my whole entire life. Like I feel like every week I'm becoming a whole different person. Like I'm just growing at a rapid rate. So if you see me struggling with expressing myself on this video, then that's just what it is. It's just a lot of growing that I'm still doing internally. And so yeah, so I don't know if I told y'all in the last video, but I ended up getting suspended like 3 times that my senior year due to smoking and just doing a lot of things that I shouldn't have been doing. Like I said, I was addicted to a lot of drugs at that time to help me cope. And I feel like that was because when I was in the hospital, I used to take like a lot of medication. Like it used to be like 30 pills a day just to keep my blood pressure high, or just to keep my body from a lot of the things I was had. Like I struggled with a lot of spasticity. Like even now I still struggle with that, but not as much as it was during those times. Like when I wake up, it'll take me like a lot of time just to warm up my body. So like before I would go to school in high school, I would always wake up like 3 hours earlier just to warm my body up, just so that I can be able to comfortably walk, or just to get me through the day. Because if I were to just wake up like a regular student, like an hour before school get ready, like my body would be so tight that I wouldn't be able to walk in school. especially like I wasn't even using my cane like I should have been. And so yeah, I used to wake up like 5:30 in the morning every single morning. Like cause like I missed like half of my senior year in school, but every time I did go to school, I never woke up 1 hour. Like it was always 3 to 2 hours early before it was time to go to school. And like I said, that was to warm my body up and to make like just to give me some comfort when I was in school. And so I left off when I was like near the end of my senior year. And so, like I said, I was suspended 3 times and I wasn't going to be able to graduate, but God always has a way. He made a way for me. And so, I remember my teachers telling me, that they were telling me what I needed to do to graduate. And so it was like, or not telling me, but I just wanted, I knew I wanted to graduate. And so I told them, like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to graduate. And thank God for my teachers because I was able to. They gave me a lot of things that I could, or gave me a lot of work. And, like, if I were to do that work, I would be able to bring my grades up. And God blessed me with some amazing teachers because I was able to, I think I graduated with, like, I don't know, my final GPA was, like, a 2.8. But my grades, they weren't too bad, like, before I was suspended, like my last time getting suspended, I think that was like a month before school ended. And my grades at that time were like low 40s, 30s, you know what I mean? And like I said, my amazing teachers, they helped me to do things like do assignments that bring my grade up. And I ended up graduating with like 2 B's and 2 C's, you know what I mean? And that was a real blessing for me. And so yeah, like I said, near the end of my school year, that's when it all started to click for me. Like, I knew I couldn't be doing the same thing that I was doing in the next part of my life, especially like with me wanting to go to SCAD and the colleges like that. I just knew I couldn't continue to move forward with life how I was then. So I started to really start to pray to God. And it wasn't really, I didn't really go deep into my relationship with God then, but I just knew like it was time for me to connect to God. Like I just felt that inner calling. Like I said, like I've always felt guided by God. I always had a relationship with him, but it just wasn't as strong as it is now. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't pray every day like I do now. I wasn't really on my journey with God. I mean, not on my journey, but I wasn't really taking it serious how I do now. And so I remember one of the days it was just like I just kept being called, and it's like I remember I had a conversation with a few of my classmates, and I was telling them like over the summer, like I'm gonna go completely ghost. Like y'all not gonna see the same version of me that y'all been seeing. And of course, you know, like us being in high school, like we're not I didn't really they didn't really believe me or actually think that I would fall through what I was saying. But I just knew like I just knew that I was like, there was something more of me and I couldn't just continue to move forward how I was at the time. So I told everybody that, you know what I mean? And like I said, they didn't believe me or that's what I perceived, that they didn't believe me. And so I remember graduation started to come up and we had to do our like graduation practices. And like I told y'all, like I wasn't, like my body, it was so inconsistent of how I walk. And like I was so ashamed of how I walked. Like I never wanted to walk in public because of like how slow I was and like how I walked, like the limp that I had. And like I said, I was so afraid to walk in public. And I remember like we had our graduation practice to where we had to practice for how we would come in when it was graduation time. And so I really prayed to God the night before. I was like, Lord, like you know what I'm facing. Like this is when God really started to pull me in. Like I started to admit my heart, like to be vulnerable with him and share it with him, like how I was feeling. And like I can't, like I'm afraid to walk in public. Like I said, I was just being vulnerable with him. And so I prayed to God that night, like Lord, like you know what I'm facing. Like I don't want to walk all messed up in public. Like I just need you. Like I was praying like real hard. And so the graduation day came, or the graduation practice came. And I remember like that was like the best time I had ever walked, like from my accident, from when I first got injured, you know what I mean, and up until that point. That was the best that I had ever walked. And so like after it just gave me so much joy, and like it just reignited the spark that I hadn't felt that in so long. And so that was the point. I was like, okay, God, like he really with me, and like this is not a game, like, and I can be who I really want to be, like deep within. That's when I started to understand, like, I'm not just anybody. Like I'm not just anybody to just be playing with. Like I can't really take. I shouldn't be taking my life as a joke. And like I said, like I really started to go more forward with my relationship with God. And so even that day, I remember telling people, like I said, I would never tell people my accident, but I just started to testify about God, like of how good he was. I wasn't saying like specifically what he done for me, but I was just telling people like you gotta follow God, like just like really just saying stuff like that, like trying to bring people to God, because I was being caught. Like I was like, that's the thing about me, like I only share things, or I only tell people what I'm experiencing, or like what I learned. Like I'm never going to tell somebody something that I haven't experienced yet, or have no knowledge of, or like test it and see if it works. Like I just don't like to lead people astray, or lead people in a way that I haven't even went myself. And so like I said, I was telling people, like testifying about how good God was. And yeah, that was pretty much what really started to get me to go after my relationship with God. And so after that day, that was the first graduation practice. And then the second graduation practice, it was the same thing. Like I walked good, and I'm just like, okay, if this can be consistent, like, then I should take my relationship with God serious more than any other relationship in my life. And so after that, we ended up at that point I was still doing drugs. And so like I wasn't fully committed yet. I mean, I was fully committed in turn, like, but my physical or my external reality didn't really match up with my spiritual just yet, you know what I mean? Like I was still uncovering a lot of the things that was going on within me. And so graduation ended up came, and I ended up graduating, like I said in the last video. I don't know if I told y'all, but I ended up graduating, you know what I mean? And we ended up, like, we graduated. I forgot what college that was. I think it was Kennesaw. And like y'all know how big that's a college stadium was, or like y'all know how big like college stadiums are. It's like way bigger than high school. And so you know I had to pray to God then. I'm like, okay, Lord, this is it. Like, this ain't the practice, this is the real thing. So like I need you more than ever. And like he ended up coming through, you know what I mean? That was like a real good day for me, because it's like I actually made it. Like I'm done with high school. Like I'm done. Like I don't have to go doing all of this like preparation before I go to school, all of this, like. And like I said in the last video, like I submitted my application to SCAD, you know what I mean? And it I hadn't got accepted just yet, but it was still like my faith was increasing. So it's like anything is possible at this point. So I was really like, I didn't doubt it anymore. Like I was just being, you know what I'm saying? Like I let go of the expectation, which was another reason that it came to pass. Like I said, I'm gonna be telling y'all more about who I am and like my spiritual journey in other videos, so y'all better understand what I'm talking about now, or like, so y'all won't think that I don't know what I'm talking about, or like know the deeper things in what I'm saying. And so yeah, like I said, I ended up graduating, and that was a real pivotal moment in my life. Like that was like the biggest shift to help me get to where I'm at right now, you know what I mean? That set me on the right path. And so I'm still uncovering a lot, so like bear with me as I tell this, as just playing this part. But like I said, after graduation, I had a graduation party that weekend, you know what I mean? Just invited some friends just to like celebrate us being like, we graduated, like just a graduation party, you know what I mean? And I remember like that whole day, like even sitting at the party, like I just felt this final done, like this final stretch, or that it was coming to a closure, you know what I mean? Like I just felt like something is changing, you know what I mean? And I just felt like an inner conviction, but it wasn't as loud, but it started to get louder as the day went on, you know what I mean? Like I was drinking and doing all that in the beginning of the day, and then the party starts, you know what I mean? And we it was me and my siblings and some of my other friends at the time, you know what I mean? And I remember when the party started to begin, and this was like late at night, you know what I mean? I was like, just brought everybody together. Like, that's the type of person I'm always like trying to bring people together and like speak wisdom into people. You know what I mean? I just like to motivate people and inspire people because I always do what I treat people how I want to be treated. And so at that time, like I said, I gathered everybody around and I was telling people like, I was like, we got to start taking our life serious. Like we can't do the same thing that we've been doing. You know what I mean? Like we grown now, like, and then we're more accountable. Like we not kids no more. We in our adult ages. So if we do something, we accountable for. Like we will be held accountable for it. You know what I mean? Like this is what I was saying, and I was also saying stuff like how I was speaking for me. Like I'm done. Like with this era of my life. Like I can't be doing these things no more. Like I gotta take my life serious, you know what I mean? I want better for myself. And all of my old friends at the time, like, of course, you know, like, especially the generation that we in now, is like, they were looking at me like, oh, he old head, or he just talking like, you know what I mean? Just looking at it as that. Like, and I didn't take it personal at the time because it's like, I just know, and I still don't take it personal. Like, I know how people think, you know what I mean? And I was only saying that, like I always speak into the future. So like you may not understand now, but eventually you will. Just like how God say, like you may not understand now, but there's gonna be a time that comes and you're gonna understand why everything happened the way it did, you know what I mean? And so like I said, they were just basically not hearing me for what I was actually saying. I mean some of them were, but like the majority of them wasn't. And my siblings, they stepped in, like tell them like, you know what he talking about. Like we already experienced this. Like, and y'all think it's a game, but life gonna catch up, and then y'all gonna see. And so, of course, you know, like my siblings always got my back, and like that's one thing I gotta say. I gotta give a big shout out to my family. You know what I mean? If I didn't have my family with me at this time, like there was no way that I was gonna be able to make it through. You know what I mean? Like even like during my scad time, like scad was I really enjoyed my time there. But it was so easy for me to get, it was so easy for me to lose my sense of self because those people, like I'm a very deep person now. Like there's a lot of deep layers to myself that I'm just not, I just don't share with people just because I know how I think and like how older of a mindset that I had. And so like that's why I mean like my family, like every time I would go home, like it's like, okay, like I could breathe again because like they understand me more than anybody on this earth do, and they support me. Like anything I do, like everything that I do, they support every step that I take. Like a lot of friends that I thought I had, and during my whole life, like every time I would shift into another version of myself, I would lose those friendships. But with my family, like I never lost my family. Like they always stayed, no matter if we were going through time but we don't understand each other or we just on bad terms. Those bad terms, like they don't last. Like we always get through it and recover, you know what I mean? So like I know a lot of people don't have a good relationship with their siblings or like just their family in general, but and they have good relationship with friends. Like I feel like it's the opposite with me. Like I'm not saying that I don't have friends or I can't keep, but it's like my family is like, those are my best friends. Like, cause they the ones that's gonna make sure that I'm straight regardless of what it is, you know what I mean? And of course, like there's other people that got me like that, but like I said, I just got to give a real shout out to my family, you know what I mean? Like that's my rock for real, besides God. And like I said, so that day, let's back to the story. Like that party that I threw, like after, like I said, after talking and all that, that's when the night started to get like real weird, like, and I started to get more and more drunk, you know what I mean? And I just knew I was doing stuff that night that I ain't got no business doing. And like I remember waking up the day after the party, and I was just like, fuck, like just knowing I just did something that I will regret, you know what I mean? And it was just like the conviction that was on me that day, like it was just like, okay, now I'm done. I said I was done back then. I said I'm gonna take my relationship with God. Like I said I'm gonna take it serious with you, Lord. But now, like I understand. Like now I understand. Like I said, like in the Bible where it says, You may not understand what I'm doing now, but eventually you will. Like, that was that time, like, when that scripture, like, I may not have known that scripture then, but that was the time where that was manifested into my reality, you know what I mean? And so, like I said, the conviction on me, the conviction that was on me that day, it helped me to let go fully of my old version of myself, like my old reality, and bring me into a new version of myself, you know what I mean? And actually start taking my life serious and start going after the things that I want for myself and be a better person for the world around me and just for me, period, you know what I mean? Like, and so that was the key for me. That was the key for me to get to where I am, to get where I'm at now, you know what I mean? Because, like, I think it was like a few days after that day is when I got accepted into SCAD. And when that happened, like, because I had ended up taking a tour, like 3 days before? I don't know if it's, I don't know when, but I know it was before I got accepted. I took a tour to SCAD, and I was like, I knew it was after the party, but I was like, this is the life, like, this is where I'm going. I'm not going to where I was, like, before I let go fully. Like, they were two completely different realities, and it was just like, God showed me, like, when I went to the tour, he showed me, like, this is what I got for you. You let go of this version of yourself, and you may not, like, you let go of this version of yourself, so let me show you what I'm bringing you into. And, like, that's what I had seen, like, okay, so this is why I had to let go of this version of myself. This is why, you know what I mean? So it just helped me to continue to go forward, you know what I mean, and let go, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, like, I ended up getting accepted into SCAD, and, like, now, like I told you, like, that was the final stretch, like that party, that was the final stretch of my old version of myself. And then, like, as all these things start coming to my reality, it's like, okay, my faith began to get even more stronger. But I was a whole different version of myself, so it's like, it was low-key a restart, you know what I mean? Like, I still work need to be done on me, you know what I mean? Like, especially at that time, like, this was a whole new version. It was like, I just lived through all of this dysfunctional patterns, you know what I mean? So it's like, I can't just come into a new version of myself and expect everything to just be okay, you know what I mean? Like, for me to not still experience struggles and trials and tribulations. It was just a new version. Like, this is the newness. Like, this is where the direction that I'm heading in my life. And there's still work that needs to be done in order to make that successful or to keep going in that direction, you know what I mean? And so, like I said, that helped me to take that direction with more faith and more confidence, you know what I mean? And that summer, I ended up, after that, it's like, okay, so if this is the case, what do I need to do to prepare myself for SCAD? So I ended up getting a job at Publix, you know what I mean? Like, that was the best job that I ever worked, you know what I mean? It helped me to look at different versions of it helped me to look within and to confront old patterns in myself that not never, but helped me to confront dysfunctional patterns that I had, that I was unaware of. You know what I mean? The reason why I say I was unaware of it, because a lot of times when we going through stuff in our dysfunction, like, we be so accustomed to our dysfunctional patterns. Like, if I didn't, okay, so, like, when I was the other version of myself, the one that was in these dysfunctional patterns but comfortable with it, if I hadn't shifted into the version that I was in, like the new version of myself, and I was operating in those dysfunctional patterns, then it wouldn't seem like, it wouldn't alarm me or alert me like something is wrong, you know what I mean? So it took me shifting into a different version of myself to see that I no longer wanted to operate in these dysfunctional patterns, you know what I mean? So, like, that shift was important before I confront those dysfunctional patterns of myself. Because now, like, when I confront these patterns of myself, it's like, okay, I know I no longer want to operate in this pattern, so I have the awareness now to change this part of myself, you know what I mean? Not to shame myself or to talk bad about myself, but just to shift and, like, let go of the patterns, not to kill myself, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like that's important to say. So, like, having grace on yourself, especially at times like that, like when you're shifting into a new version of yourself or a new aspect of yourself, you have to have grace when you changing or when you growing, because when you look at your old patterns as a new version of it, you're gonna be like, what? Like, why was I doing this? And it's easy to fall into the trap of shame, you know what I mean? So like I said, like that grace is very important when you shifting into a new version of yourself. You know what I mean? And so like I said, I ended up getting a job, and I really began to take my relationship with God serious, you know what I'm saying? I ended up going on the fast, like getting off of social media completely, you know what I'm saying? Like, not that I'm on it now, but I'm talking about how at the time, you know what I'm saying? So I ended up getting off, like, it wasn't I did food fast, but not like that. Like, I never been one to do a food fast, you know what I mean? Or if I do, it would be just God doing it through me. Like, I just go days without eating and just drinking water, but it's not intentionally to get something. It's just, God is just operating through me, you know what I'm saying? Like, my fasts are more in a natural way. Like, I don't do it to get something. I just do it to clean out myself, like to get rid of things like dysfunctional patterns, you know what I'm saying? In my opinion, like that's why I was doing it. Or to just move on from dysfunctional patterns, you know what I mean? I'm just using different words because growing now, like especially where I'm at now, like there's a lot of things that I've learned about the healing journey, like especially like with being hard on yourself, and like it's very important to not shame yourself. And it's just a lot of stuff that I've learned now that I'm starting to incorporate into the way that I am now, you know what I'm saying? And so, like I said, like I began to take my relationship with God to a whole different level. I was, like 90% of my day was spending time with God, you know what I'm saying? Even at work, like I'm in constant reflection. Like when I go on break, I'm like praying hard. Like, of course I'm not aware of exactly what I was praying for then, but like I was just praying, like praying. Like every off time I had, I was praying to God, like talking to God. And that was how I was able to overcome so many dysfunctional patterns at such a rapid rate, is because I would take it straight to God. Like as soon as I get triggered, I don't go trying to figure it out myself. I just take it to God, you know what I'm saying? And the way that I do that is like if I get triggered by something, I'll make sure that I spend at least like 5 minutes in communication with God, like regardless of all this, like there's no, and I don't try to like fake it when I come to him. Like I just be as vulnerable as I can, like just like I'm talking to you right now, whoever's watching it. Like this is how I'm talking to God, you know what I mean? Like, and how my communication style is with him. And so like I said, I was taking my relationship with God, and I could feel the difference in who I was, between who I used to be. I could feel the difference like so strong at the time. Like every day I would feel like I'm being cleaned, like I'm being cleaned out. Not that I was perfect, because I was still going through things. Like I was still like struggling, even with like my body. Like I was still, but I was healing, you know what I'm saying? Like I was healing, and I had more acceptance of where I was at in my life, you know what I mean? I had more acceptance and more trust in God and the path that he laid out for me. So it wasn't as hard as it was, you know what I mean? Not that it wasn't hard, but it wasn't as hard as it was. And so as time moved forward, my relationship with God began to get stronger, even stronger, you know what I mean? And like I said, I was just really taking my relationship with God like serious. And I remember it was time, like I had scheduled a overnight stay with scad. Like it was like an overnight tour kind of thing, you know what I mean? And we stayed for just like a day or half a day, like me and other students, you know what I mean? And during that time when I had visited, it was such a new, like I said, I'm very accustomed, like I adapt quick to my circumstances. But that was just such a huge shock for me, because like now I'm around different people, not just around different people, but actually staying the night with different people. And so when I went, it was like a real shock for me. Like it was like a real big shock for me. Like what I mean by that was like it was just very different. Like I had never really experienced something like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to really explain that, but it was just a shock for me. And when I went there, like it was just like, is this really what I want? Like, is this like really what I want? Like, is this really what I want? And like I started to doubt, like maybe this ain't for me, like because like I come from a completely different background than what a lot of people at SCAD come from. And so it was like I was just like really starting to doubt, like what if it's not like the anxiety? It's like it went back to how I was before that, this next phase of my life that I was in. Like, it started to go back to those type of thoughts, and I was just like, whoa, maybe this ain't for me. Maybe if I do proceed with this, I'm gonna fall back into old patterns, you know what I'm saying? And so I went home, like I said, I went home, and that's when I really I took it to God. I started praying about it, you know what I mean? Like Lord, what is this? Like, is this gonna be another slippery slope where I gotta go back into these dysfunctional patterns, or like what? Like, and so like I just really began to pray about it, you know what I mean? Like, keep talking to God about it, so it don't be, or so I can get an answer, like, is this for me? Like, and so I just had to trust, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't get an instant answer. I just had to trust that God knew he was doing. And if he led me this far, then it gotta be for me, you know what I'm saying? Like, if this was one of the main reasons why I shifted into this new version of myself, then this is for me, you know what I'm saying? So I just had to trust and not let the fear control me. So I kept going, you know what I'm saying? I kept going to work, kept fighting, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, like, alright, y'all, so I'm breaking the video into 2 parts because I'm sitting up here editing it right now, and the video is an hour long, and I don't want my videos to be that long. Like the last one before the one I dropped was like almost an hour, and I don't like when it's like that, just because I feel like it's unorganized. So, and I feel like this is the perfect part to put a next part to it, you know what I mean? But I'm not gonna go ghost and not drop a video for like 38 million years, you know what I mean? I'm gonna drop it probably tomorrow or the day after I drop it, or actually probably an hour, who knows? But it ain't gonna be long. So anyways, I hope y'all have a good day. Hope y'all took some inspiration from this first part of this part of video. And yeah, if y'all got any questions about my accident or anything about who I am or what y'all want to know about me or what y'all want to see, then y'all can leave those in the comments, you know what I mean? Like I said, like, comment, share, subscribe. And yeah, Phoenix Rising is out.